welcome to another episode of our Soul Care Wednesday. My sincere apologies. I had promised to do an episode last week, but life happened and I couldn't be able to do it. So that's why this is a little bit 1 week late. But if you're new here, glad that you could stop by and catch up with us. My name is Claire. I have the privilege of being the founder of this channel, and I am a registered nutritionist, and I love everything about nutrition. I love everything about healthy living. I love everything about total wellness and total well-being. So we started off a journey which I started off towards the end of last year, where we have been doing soul care episodes just to look at how we can look at our souls much more better. As I said before, you can actually think about self-care, but if your soul is not okay, then it will be difficult. I base my life around 3 John 2:1 that says, "Beloved, above everything, I pray that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your souls prosper." So I believe that if our souls are prospering, then our health have no option but to follow suit. And so we've been doing these soul care episodes, and we have done so many things on soul care, and I'm promised in the next episodes to do something on reset. So last time when we did the last episode, I mentioned that many of us like just our lives to be on a replay mode. So like kind of we just roll over 1 year to another. And of course we know you can't do life sometimes in replay mode. You have to sit down and reevaluate and think about life and think about ways in which things that have served you well can continue to serve you well. And those things that haven't served you well, you have to think of ways of getting rid of them. And so going back into resetting, today I will not take a lot of time. I'll just be talking a little bit more about reset. And the first way or the first type of reset that we're starting with in today's installment is the physical reset. If you're talking about physical reset, because again, I'm more interested in nutrition, I'm more interested in healthy living, I'm more interested in having healthy, thriving bodies, I'll focus on a few things that we can actually do for this year that can help us to be able to physically reset. For some of us, maybe it's been our desire for this year, maybe potentially to lose weight. Some of us could be to gain weight. Some of us will be to shift some things around with our health, with our well-being, with our welfare and things like that. And so today I'm just going to talk about total well-being in terms of the physical resetting. There are things that you can think about when it comes to physical resetting. You can think of like the first and foremost thing that I always think about when it comes to physical reset is things to do with like your sleep, is things to do with exercise, is things to do with nutrition, is things to do with what impacts your body, right? When I'm thinking about in particular nutrition, for example, and hence the reason why I have followed a career in nutrition, I always say garbage in, garbage out, right? If you're constantly eating crap, and crap I mean food that is high in calories, that has refined carbs, that has a lot of processed food, basically at the end of the day, you're going to get crap out, right? If your car is a diesel car and you give it petrol, your car is going to have problems with the engine. If your car is petrol and you give it diesel as well, you have problems, right? And I can see some of you live with me. Welcome, good evening. So you need to think about what is it that propels me, like the food that we eat, it gets converted into calories. Of course, it's the calories. It gets broken down, it goes into our bodies, and it powers the different metabolic processes that we need, the different physiological processes around our bodies. So try to imagine, like if you have to move, if you have to live, if you have to do all your living beings and things like that, and you've actually fueled on the wrong fuel, that will definitely going to bring a problem at the end of the day. So trying to think, how can I fuel right? And the basic things to think about is when you're serving your food, for let's say last year, maybe you have struggled with sugar addiction. Maybe you have struggled with, I don't know, eating a lot of processed food. Maybe you have struggled with getting rid of something in one way or the other. When you're resetting, what is it that you can think about and say, Claire, this has not served me well last year. Hi, Elisa. What can I do differently that will serve me differently this year? And that could be as simple switches around with your nutrition. I always say, I'm not a believer of complete elimination. I will not stand in front of my camera and say to you, hi, Fortnite, go ahead and clear off everything from your diet. Hi, Lisa. I will not stand here today and say to you, do not eat that, do not eat that, do not. But you can do actually evaluating yourself and thinking, what are the things that I can change around? If you're an addict, for example, of bread, right, and you always buy white bread, you can still decide and say, I am going to eat bread, but rather than eating white bread, I will eat whole bread because it has got more fiber. It will fill me up a little bit longer. The fiber will be good. Lisa, I'm well. I hope you're okay as well. The fiber will contribute towards the fermentation in the gut, and that can help as well with my gut microflora, and that can help. Healthy gut equals a healthy you. So thinking again back into when I'm fueling myself, if I'm thinking about, for example, every time I love snacking, if you're resetting, you can tell yourself, rather than snacking with cookies and chocolate and everything, you can still have one chocolate, but rather than having white chocolate, fantastic, good to hear that you're fine, have dark chocolate. Dark chocolate has more good things for your heart. It can actually help you more. And when you're eating dark chocolate, because it's much more nutritious, it's much more like kind of nutritionally heavy, dense, and things like that, you won't eat a lot of dark chocolate compared to milk chocolate. So you can make what is called, thank you so much, you can make what is called healthy swaps, right? So that at the end of the day, as you're resetting, you're telling yourself, I need to do something different that will bring a change in my health this year. I mentioned this the last time that I spoke to you. Thank you once again, Lisa. I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. I said, insanity is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's insanity. If you want a different result, you've got to do things differently. And that's why you've got to reset and say, if I'm looking at my diet, I have done this and it has not served me well. What can I do different so the will serve me differently so that I can see the change that I desire to see? And I've been listening a lot to some like talks about changing and things like that. And honestly, you cannot wait for somebody else to initiate the change for you. You are the master of the change. You are the only. I can give you an advice as a nutritionist. I can give you an advice as a brother, as a sister, wherever. But at the end of the day, the person that will take care of the change or will have to bring the change is you. And so when you're thinking about resetting, I'll go a little bit deeper into what can we eat, what should we like kind of stay away from. I'm not kind of gonna say, sometimes go clear up your pantry. Think about what is in your pantry. What is it when you're coming into your pantry? It really tempts you that you're like, I've said today I'm not going to eat crap, and then you get home. Remember, I'm not saying crap because I'm talking about refined carbs and processed food. And then you come home, the first thing you realize is, goodness me, I am hungry, number one. Number two, I've actually walked into my pantry and the first thing that I'm saying is a box of chocolate. I'm going to eat that. Let's face it, we are human. We have tendencies that can actually tempt us, right? But if you clear that up and then you replace it, the law of replacement, I usually say, when you come home, what is it the first thing that you see? If on your table, all that you have is a banana, you have an orange, and you're feeling hungry, you're not going to go into the fridge to look for the chocolate. You start having the banana, which is on the top of the shelf, before you reach out for those temptations. So you can actually have those things strategically for this year to say, as I'm resetting, I'm going to be purposeful. I think about how can I be able to trick myself up. And remember, we have to form new habits, right? And if you're forming new habits, a habit is not formed in a day. And if you fail in a day, so be it. That's okay. It's fine. Wake up tomorrow and try again. And today I was listening to Jim Rohn, who's like was the father of all motivational speakers and things like that, and he was talking about consistency, and he was saying we have to become consistent, and consistency will not come by trying it one day. He said you can say today, I want to eat healthy for a week. get to day 3, you failed. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be your worst critic and decide to stay down. If you're down, you may fall today. Rise up, pick yourself up, and get yourself going so that you can still continue with the journey ahead, right? And if you're going to get to day 4 and then you realize, goodness me, I've fallen down. I mean, get somebody that can do that journey with you. Get an accountability partner. Get somebody that you'll be accountable to say, I need to clean up my pantry. I need to clean up my life. What can I do? And let these people walk with you, do life with you. So I will talk a little bit more about food, because that's the thing that encourages me. That's the thing that I'm like, I live for this. I teach nutrition. I basically breathe nutrition, right? So I want to talk a little bit about that, and I'll do it in a separate episode. Number 2, thinking about another thing that can actually help you with physically resetting is sleep. If you're not sleeping well, if you're not sleeping enough, that can actually wreak havoc on your physical health. Some of us are even holding on to some weight that is unnecessary, that we shouldn't be holding on because we are not able to sleep. So if you're not sleeping well, we're not allowing our body to do its thing, to heal itself, to recover itself, to recuperate, and to help us. And sometimes sleep is like medicine. So there are things that maybe you've done in the past year. I have somebody who's talked to me and was telling me how they suffer from insomnia. If you have insomnia, that's a different story, right? Because some of it could be medically, there can be some diagnosis medically. You can get medical help from that. But some of the times we don't sleep enough simply because of our gadgets. If you have blue light before the time to sleep, that can actually impact a lot on your sleep, the quality of the sleep that you're sleeping. How is your room looking like? For some of us who are in cold countries, if your room is constantly too hot or too cold, that can impact the quality of the sleep that you sleep. If your room has the wrong lighting, either you have too much light in your room that comes through the windows, your body's biological clock will not think it's time to sleep. So there are things that you can do to adjust that. And I really want us to work this year towards, we need to do something with resetting so that we are getting enough sleep. And enough sleep will be so different to so many different people. They say approximately an adult will need between 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And these will vary with so many things. I've said before, if you're working, for example, in the nighttime, it might be that during the day you need to sleep. And if your biological clock is confused, that can impact again the quality of sleep that you have. If you're tired, if you have anxiety, mental health issues, those can actually have again impact on the quality of the sleep. So if you have any other underlying issues, you need to deal with those underlying issues, because sleep is important in your physical reset. And then the final thing for tonight, as I said, these episodes don't need to be longer than necessary. The final thing that we're talking about today, there are 3 things that I'm giving you, and I can see you all, Tiana, 2025. Great to see you live. The third thing that I want to talk about tonight is to do with exercise, right? I'm big on exercise. I love my running. I love going out and just getting myself into the fresh air. Today, I was at work during the day and I could feel a little bit overwhelmed. I didn't have so much sleep last night and I was feeling so tired. I was thinking like, what am I going to do in this situation? And something just said to me, go out for a walk. And I went for this really long walk. I walked for about 45 minutes. When I came back to the office, I was feeling so refreshed. I was feeling like, wow, I can do some work. And so physical activity is really important as a part of our physical resetting. If you are leading a life that is physically active, can I just say congratulations? Can I just say well done to you? Can I just say keep up doing that? And if you are sedentary, right, you're somebody who's basically most of the time you work in the office, you don't do much of walking and things like that, it can be a year that you can decide and say, Claire, I'm going to do some resetting. I'm going to be involved a little bit more in physical activity, a little bit more allowing myself to move a little bit more, so that at the end of the day, you're giving yourself that opportunity to be out to have that fresh air, to have that fresh breath. But also when you're out, it gives you that opportunity to rethink. It gives you that opportunity to recharge yourself. Physical activity is good for your mental well-being. It's good for weight loss as well. It helps you with having kind of breaking down the calories that you've eaten. And there are so many different things why exercise is important for us. And I will break that down again for us in another episode. And so when I'm bringing this to a conclusion, I just want you to remember three things that we've talked about today when it comes to physical reset, right? We've talked about the place of physical reset today, and we've mentioned three things in particular. Number one was nutrition, thinking about what is coming into your body, thinking about the fuel that you're giving to your body. Think about your body as a car. Which type of a fuel do you need? If you need fuel, if you need petrol, don't put in diesel, right? Go for petrol. Think about fruits and vegetables. Think about swaps where you're having healthy swaps. And then number two, we've talked about physical activity, thinking about being active, being out there, being able to allow your body kind of just in a way to wander in the wild. You don't have to run. I love running, but you don't have to run. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to rob the gym to rob the bank to be able to go to the gym. You can go for a walk. You can be able to skip a rope. You can do, there are people who do YouTube videos on exercises. I've done that myself and I've really enjoyed doing that. And number three, do not forget the place of sleep. Sleep is important. And I'm not talking about quantity of sleep. Quantity is great. You need 7 to 9 hours if you're an adult, but it's more the quality of sleep. Can you be able to lie down and just get yourself, your mind is settled, that you can get 7 hours of quality sleep? So it will help you rejuvenate. And as you sleep, your body is going back into the reset mode, is healing itself, organs are being replenished, and we need quality sleep. So for those of you who've been with me tonight, I really appreciate your time. If you haven't done that so already, why can't I just ask you to click that like, share, subscribe button? And it's been another episode, and I will see you again next week. Until then, my prayer for you is that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your souls prosper. Know that you're loved, celebrated, and appreciated. God bless, and see you again next week, same time, same place. Love you plenty. Goodbye.